you think it's important that places like Liberty Land be preserved?
Well, Memphis is responsible for the creation of rock and roll. People come here to see things that rock and roll musicians touched, had something to do with. Elvis rode that roller coaster 11 days before he died. The roller coaster was built the year Gladys Presley was born, the year the Titanic sank. You know, before there was rock and roll, there was roller coasters. That's why it's important.
Do you have any personal Liberty Land memories? Too many.
I have a 7-year-old daughter and a boy who's almost 2 years old. My little girl is under 48 inches, so she can't ride the roller coaster. And my little boy, I took him and videotaped him. You know, the fair will only be there for so much longer. And I'm making a documentary about this so that people in Europe and all over the world sometimes seem to appreciate Memphis more than we do.
Great cities, they don't destroy, they don't just discard their past. That's how great cities are made. They're not made out of everything going forward, but they're built on the memories of the past.
Liberty Land, the theme park in Memphis that Elvis loved to visit. And this is the Zippin' Pippin, the white-knuckle roller coaster that was one of Elvis's favourite rides. He loved the fairgrounds and many times rented them from midnight until dawn in the 1960s and 70s at a cost of $17,000. He'd invite family and friends, plus any fans who happened to be around, to go along too. Originally called the Mid-South Fairgrounds, the name was changed to Liberty Land in 1976 to coincide with the American bicentennial.
Oh, say, can you see? It's fun for the whole family. Our spirits shining through like the red, white, and blue. Star-spangled excitement at Liberty Land.
Open every weekend.
Like it's dead drunk, which is what the man in the newspaper said in Sunday's editorial, that it's like an old car that can't be fixed. And I just rode it at the fair, and it was great. It was 87,000 plus people that night at Chaka Khan. It was just, it was happening. Sorry.
Okay.
Good stuff?
Yeah, you say
Okay.
good stuff.
You'll be fine later. You just might be like, oh no, got my mascara running. But
We've been playing for almost a year now.
Initially, I set out to make a documentary on the history of Memphis girl bands. My favorite was the Zippin' Pippins, who had taken their name from Elvis's favorite wooden roller coaster. But as the doc took shape, we all learned that the actual roller coaster and the unique theme park that surrounded it, called Liberty Land, was closing and likely not to reopen.
Well, sure. I mean, I've heard it creates 300 jobs for teenagers every summer. And I think that's a good way to keep kids out of trouble. Plus, it's a pretty fun job.
The group Save Liberty Land came together after the sudden closure of the struggling amusement park. They're protesting the move through petition and song.
Living in the wasteland.
Zippin' Pippins are lending their voice to a new cause, saving Liberty Land.
It's sad.
Drummer Misty White says the band got its name from Elvis's favorite ride at the park. They're now drafting a proposal to present to the Shelby County Commissioners to save it, and a local filmmaker is shooting a documentary about it.
They need to know that we care before they just do what they want.
State Senator Steve Cohen is the chair for the Mid-South Fairgrounds Reuse Committee. He says the fate of the roller coaster ride is out of their hands, but the band hopes its efforts will put the Zippin' Pippin back on track.
I'd met Denise Parkinson at Murphy's. I'd seen her play maracas a few times with the Zippin' Pippins, and we'd had some conversations about saving Liberty Land. I suggested she have her first meeting at my house. This is their story.
The future of these kids without first-time jobs, because according to the city's own study, 85% of the teenagers that are going to just lose their jobs for the summer.
My name's Denise Parkinson. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I spent a lot of time in Memphis, and I moved here to live here about 4 years ago. I embarked on a career, I guess, of saving the Zippin' Pippin, the Carousel, and Liberty Land quite by accident because the city wanted to demolish the park.
Dee, are you a little on guard about the stay-at-home mom thing?
I feel insulted. I feel like
I think you should stay home.
says I'm just dreaming of nostalgia.
There's the thing about if it's a benefit for the citizens, that takes precedence over the value of the land.
But it loses, according to them, $500,000 a year. So
That's a good point.
How do we counter that?
I'm Steve Mulroy, and I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I came here to Memphis from Washington, D.C., where I was a lawyer for the U.S. Justice Department in Washington. The last couple of years, I got more involved in civic affairs, including the fight to save Liberty Land.
We try to privately broker some sort of deal where some other corporate amusement park place comes in and buys it and takes it over, and then at least it's continuing.
The total economic impact from the study the city did, $22 million. That's Liberty Land's total economic impact. So if they lost $500,000, if they close it down, they're going to lose $22 million.
Is that what that says? That it brings in $22 million into the city's economy?
So I read in the commercial appeal about this grassroots group that was going to try to save it. Some woman named Denise Parkinson. And it was great because I remember I used to drive 10 or 15 minutes to go there. It was affordable. Families that made less money than me, it was great for them, but I loved it too. And when I heard that the Memphis was thinking about shutting it down, I thought, what a short-sighted, stupid thing for the city of Memphis to do.
Between now and then, we have to deal with this economic depression in Midtown and, lack of quality of life.
It's not just Midtown though. The problem is that the city is broke. It's flat broke. They closed all public swimming pools. They canceled all public development projects.
Everyone seemed to be about raising public consciousness. I remember Susie from the band was there, and she was talking about the T-shirt she was going to make. Got wood?
And it's a good idea.
I don't understand the sexual innuendo.
Because he's like so.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't, would you? Even my old man understands it, Susie. Come on. I mean, Dad, do you understand got wood? Do you understand what that means?
I understand.
It's like got milk, but it's wood because the Zippin' Pippin's made out of wood.
Start up again. If you tie it to, it should be once a month. And February there's Valentine's Day, and then March, rides of spring or whatever. But
There's nothing in January, and there's nothing to. This is just a Christmas party designed to raise awareness. Don't interrupt me.
Look, can we get back to what's already happened? If we're going to have a talking point that addresses the economic part of this, the city's.
Misty, Denise's sister, was there, and at one point they had words, and Misty walked off like she was mad or something, and I don't know what that was.
Everybody will get a chance to have their input and everything, but I'm sorry I pissed her off. She's very sensitive. But
is she still in the band?
No.
Why not?
She said I created a police state.
And incorporate Liberty Land into the development plan that is the alternative to tearing it down.
She's into what she's into, which is a white sister trait.
Yeah.
So you got to love her for that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not stopping. I've been sitting next to her when she emails, going, "Hey, no, don't say it that way."
Slow down. Don't do anything irrevocable. Let's give us time to explore
all these other different things we're talking about, getting somebody to come in and buy it, or maybe upgrading the management, whatever. The point is, we don't know what the answer is necessarily. There are a number of options, but the point is, you shouldn't be rushing to judgment. You should be giving their time for public discussion and debate on this.
Yeah, and you can put it to them like, you know.
Well, I mean, I've always been a rabble-rouser. In high school, I was always leading protests against the administration. You know, the public school would bring in evangelists, and I'd cry about separation of church and state. I was the editor of the school newspaper. Went to Cornell, became the president of the Civil Liberties Union there. It's always been about, you know, fighting the man and rallying the cause against an administration that seemed unresponsive. And so this is just another part of the same thing. You know, you've got a city administration that's listening to the condo kings more than it is listening to average people.
They what?
Was she telling you to get those people off the street?
Yeah.
Why? Because you have to have a permit to...
Yeah, they're just walking down the street. No big deal.
So that lady works for the parade?
I don't know who she is.
Usually when a park is going to close, people get to have a chance to take their families there for one last time. Not so in this case. The announcement came suddenly. It came right at the outset of the Thanksgiving holidays. It came really with no warning. We were totally unprepared for the news that Liberty Land was closed, and that was it.
That lady was trying to get rid of you.
I know, but I didn't stay at home. I did not stay at home.
All right, Kanji, and here's how you can help out. The Zippin' Pippins will have a concert to save Liberty Land next Friday. It's December.
Hi, I'm Susie Hendricks, and I grew up here. I moved here in '68. I learned more playing music here in Memphis than I did living anywhere else. I really don't remember how I met Misty White. She asked me to be in a girl band, and I've never been in a girl band before, so I thought I'd try that, and it's a whole lot of fun. I think the city should take a long, hard look at what makes Memphis unique. And instead of trying to become this new metro unit city thing, I think they should look at our history and look at the fact that we're just kind of down home, funky naturally, and that's our charm.
Thank you. Okay, someone else has a story. Anyone who has one, come on up. That's our point tonight. We want to bring attention to the plight of Liberty Land.
I have a story to tell about Liberty Land. And we noticed when we got on the ride that they were covering up something in one of the seats with some sawdust. Something must have happened in that seat in front of us with that sawdust with the wintergreen smell. Because it was blowing back on us. It was like, oh my God, cover your faces. Oh.
I started the Zippin' Pippins because I was ready to play drums again in an all-girl band. I was thinking of a name, and I was trying to think of something that was happy, and Zippin' Pippin just kind of spoke to me. And then they announced the whole thing about Liberty Land, and so it was a natural fit.
I don't want to lose the momentum, so I'll keep it going. I'm Steve Mulroy, and I've only been living here. Yeah, Steve Mulroy, yes. Thank you. I've only been living here for 5 years, so I don't have any stories going way back to the beginning. But even in the short 5 years I've been living here, I've been able to glom on to the fact, it's not very all that hard to figure out, that Liberty Land is a real treasure. And it's something distinctive about Memphis, and we need to treasure it, we need to preserve it, we need to save it, right? Right?
The thing is, once it's gone, you know, in 10, 20 years, when we're telling people what we used to do in Midtown, go to Liberty Land, they're gonna think, why did you let them tear it down? My name's Christy Witt, formerly Christy White. I've lived in Memphis for about 22 years and came over here to go to school. So my only responsibility is to play the guitar and sing, and I do write a lot of the songs. And my sister Misty, the twin, who's a songwriter as well.
I thought there'd be like 5 other groups out there trying to save Liberty Land. And, you know, we would just meet them, because we were the only ones.
Picture yourself where the fun never stops. Where the thrills never end. Where there's rides, shows, food, and fun for the whole family. Focus on the fun at Liberty Land.
The mayor called me at home, and I was thrilled. I was thrilled that the mayor had called me to, I thought, discuss the reasons to save Liberty Land. But he said that meeting with our group would be a complete waste of his valuable time. And when I asked him about the loss of all the summer jobs for teenagers, he hung up on me. He did say, "Have a nice day," but it was, "I'll tell you what, have a nice day." Click.
It's true that Mayor Harrington was hard to reach, hard to convince, and hard to understand. Why would his administration, of all administrations, close an amusement park where kids would have nowhere to go? However, there was another version of Mayor Harrington that you could visit and talk to, without an appointment, at any time of the day or the night. It was his statue, erected in his honor on Neptune Street, across from his old alma mater, Lemoyne Owen College. Like the mayor, the statue was fixed in place, immobile and unmovable.
Pay no attention to the man in the booth. I am the real Oz.
Is that loud enough?
How's that volume? Is that enough?
Well, I'm just here today after I heard on Channel 3 News this morning that they were going to have a meeting on Save Liberty Land, and I'm showing up today to give my support. This sad chapter in Memphis history that we allow this establishment to be closed up when it's the only amusement park within 100 miles of the city.
What's your name? And why do you want to continue to come to Liberty Land, and you're sad that they're going to shut it down?
Yes, I wanted this to be my first job.
Your first job?
Oh, Mr. Aviati, thank you for coming. Really appreciate you coming out here.
See what y'all got going on.
Okay, well, good.
We need Liberty Land safe. Bottom line, we need it safe for our children. They don't have any decent place to go now. It's but Liberty Land.
Which for 30 years has entertained children and their families, has given first-time jobs to area teens.
My daughter worked, all four. I had 4 daughters with the city school, and they got their start from here at Liberty Land working.
We've obtained over 1,000 petition signatures of people in support of our efforts.
I got grandchildren and great-grandchildren that I want them to know about Liberty Land.
And we want to work with the city of Memphis and the special ad hoc committee they set up to study uses of this entire fairgrounds complex.
So when your lease holders say we don't want to continue, then you have this property and it's up to you to decide.
It's just like anything else in a commercial venture or an industrial venture. Once they come to you and say that we don't want to go ahead, and renew our lease, well, then you find another tenant.
That the city has been unwilling to grant Liberty Land anything more than a year-to-year lease. This has prevented the people that run Liberty Land from being able to invest long-term in new rides and other improvements that would make Liberty Land a viable economic entity.
Yes, I agree that the rides are pretty antiquated. There hadn't been any new rides that have been, installed in many, many years.
We call on the city to make aggressive efforts to find companies which can take over Liberty Land and to be willing to grant such a company a long-term lease.
Too many people want to come to the city about this thing and that thing, but they want the city to subsidize. In other words, the expenses. Well, you can come to me and do the same thing, right, and ask for that if you can get the money.
We call on Mid-South Fair Incorporated to stop its efforts to auction off the Liberty Land legacy piece by piece.
So Mayor Harrington, you don't think will ride the Zippin' Pippin?
I'm not saying that he will not ride it. I just said I don't think that possibly he will.
Do you think the question will get to him?
Well, I'm sure with all this that it will.
Do you think I could ask him personally, just to see what he says? I won't even ask him anything else. I'll just ask him that one question.
I think if you give him a call and everything and tell him who you are, he'll probably go ahead and respond to you.
I'll tell him Mr. Aviati sent me.
Tell him that's what I suggested that you do.
Okay, thank you,
That's
sir.
the same thing. I'm just putting it more in a diplomatic way, though.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe it's not our responsibility to find an outside operator. We're trying to encourage the city to make aggressive efforts to recruit an outside operator. I think it'll mean more coming from the city than it will be from me, because who am I? But
I'm State Representative Henry Brooks, and I represent the 92nd Legislative District, which includes Liberty Land, Orange Mound. All of the communities that surround Liberty Land, and those communities consist of families. There are children who are accustomed to going to Liberty Land for not only entertainment, but also for job opportunities during the summer. And it has been such a economic boom for some families because their children can't get to other locations for job opportunities. Not only that, we have a piece of culture, we have a piece of history that goes back generations and generations, and people want to preserve that. I want to preserve that.
And don't forget, if you are interested in the Save Liberty Land campaign, there's the number to call again. Kids and adults alike are getting involved, like entertainer Harlan T. Bobo. You can check him out on his website, harlantbobo.com. And we leave you this morning with more of his great music. Harlan, if you would, take it away.
Thank you.
Woo!
Oh, that's sweet. Well, let's hope the Boffo gets over his anger. I'm sure he will. After all, it's only a roller coaster. It's only history. It's only fun. It's only love. And it's only blue skies.
And here comes February, and we've got some great musicians that are helping us put on shows, and people are seeing things about Liberty Land and what we're doing to try to save it on the local television. And we're meeting a lot of kids that want to save the park, and it's just picking up steam and rolling right along.
What about you guys on this end? Why do we need to keep Liberty Land?
Because that we won't have any memories anymore if we don't keep Memphis safe from knocking down everything.
Okay, that is a good way to put it, Mary.
We're going to some meetings and having these dog and pony shows thrown at us about condos are better, and here comes your Starbucks, and here comes your chain bookstore, so don't fret, we've got it all under control.
We think the first steps towards new uses could be, there could be mixed uses. What we call mixed is that residential over retail or that office over retail. It's possible that Liberty Land is relocated or closed permanently. What is the best alternative use for that site? It could be used as sports and recreation facility. Can we just have one more question? Then we need to do we want to get all your comments, not just ask a couple questions. I think you have your hand up.
I just wanted to make the statement that being that there might be retail, that there might be more pedestrians, more people coming to this area, don't you believe that that would help fuel some people seeing Liberty Land and coming to Liberty Land, where it might just bring more people into the area? Just to say, I've moved 22 times in 13 years. I'm a General Motors brat. I've seen a lot of cities, and what you're proposing with the style is beautiful, but it is cookie cutter. It looks like every other city.
In any kinds of processes like this, it's likely that someone will have thought, well, you know, they're probably going to put a Walmart on the site. Well, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we envision.
She would freak out about the set list. Like you couldn't have a different one.
Dee flew off the handle at a gig. None of us had any idea what it was about, and I'm still not clear at all what happened, but she took something horribly personal. It had something to do with not following a set list. We missed her. I mean, the maracas were great, but things definitely got more calm. My name is Amy Levere. I'm the bass player for the Zippin' Pippins. I moved to Memphis in '99 and I lived behind Misty. Misty actually took me to Liberty Land for the first time, and it just became one of my favorite places to take my out-of-town friends.
Hey! How you doing? Good to see you. Hey. He did this thing at the High Tone or whatever it was, and all these bands played, and I thought, what we need a rock anthem to celebrate Liberty Land and to be our message. They are his, so meet their loves there too. They'll say me.
I think it's all about the quick fix, really, and money. And I think that if someone just had a little bit of vision, they would be able to get everything they want in a more wholesome, wonderful way.
Meet me down at Liberty. Get ready to shout. Where the magic's in your hand. Get yours to command. Meet me down at Liberty Land. Meet me down at Liberty Land. Thank you very much. And it's that kind of innovative thinking that, if placed on the county commission, I will use to be the best county commissioner. Vote for Steve Mulrod! Except for this footage. Yes. This will be the blackmail material 10 years later.
Play up the Elvis angle like should be done.
People were getting pink slipped left and right. Carpenters that had worked there for 30 years, maintenance people that had been there for 20 years. The Mid-South Fair is a nonprofit organization. They're the people who've been in control of Liberty Land and who have really mismanaged it.
Let me have you over here with this.
And what am I doing here? What's the concept?
Liberating Liberty Land.
Liberating Liberty Land. Okay.
Good, great. I'm gonna throw this stuff in my truck, and y'all, we can meet around where the revolution is, where there's a gate. And where
in fact, the joke, according to people who've worked at Liberty Land, was, oh, did you see the 3 Liberty Land commercials that they showed last night? No, I didn't see them. Well, that's because they were on between 2 and 4 in the morning.
Where's the baby? She's got it. Hey, we need the baby. Casey.
Right here. Ready?
My boss just called. I'm trying to get clearance for you all to be back here.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Okay.
We're sorry.
No, I just wanted to try to make sure it was going to be okay for
Thank you.
For whatever you want.
Thank y'all very much.
She's worked here since 1999.
What's your name?
Oh, no, I can't be on camera.
They'll get in trouble. They've been.
Apparently, all the employees were called in to several meetings and said if they had anything at all to say to the media or to save Liberty Land, then they would be instantly terminated.
She said he can't allow entry at this point for a liability entry. He's over at the fair office, not this building, but the next building. Oh, he's over there.
Okay, right, cool. What's his name?
There is no liberty here. You can't talk to anyone about your opinion about losing your job. There's no liberty. You can't walk around the park with a camera without having the NSA up on your neck. That's
Most people, well, there are a lot of people in Memphis that cannot afford to just go to Disney World. You know, at one point, one of the members of our group was talking to a city official and making this particular argument, and we heard back, well, those people can just go to Disney World.
The chief financial officer of Memphis, Robert Lipscomb, did say to me when I asked him if he was concerned about Liberty Land closing, he said, well, families can always just take their kids to Disney World, as if he lives in another planet.
Everyone has stories about how Elvis loved the Pippin and it was his favorite ride. I mean, it's part of what makes Memphis unique. The Mid-South Fair has plans to auction the Liberty Land rides on June 21st. We met with the City Council not only to prove the value of Liberty Land, but also to prove that the city owned the carousel and the Zippin' Pippin, and that it would basically be illegal for the Mid-South Fair to auction them. And Denise Parkinson were here, she could probably help me out as well. And we've heard between 500 and 800.
At the very last minute, when I was on my way downtown to the Parks Committee meeting, and my toddler had yogurt all over his head. I got a phone call from Mr. Delaney because he had been doing research in the library and Xeroxed page after page of articles from the Press Scimitar and the Commercial Appeal dating back to 1946 and 47, all the way up through the 70s.
And here is a copy of the history of the Park Commission.
All these articles said the same thing. The city owns the equipment and the land.
It'd be a good time out because the city attorney, Sarah Hall, is here, and I've asked her to speak on that issue.
We'll start by
So ultimately, it was John Delaney, a private citizen, whose research first proved that the city owned the carousel and the Zip and Pippin.
Purchased by the various owners, that they are owned by the city of Memphis, and even...
The final win for us that day was when the city attorney said she would even demand financial records from Mid-South Fair to give to any potential buyers of the park. At least one private company had said $10,000 a month lease for the first year of operation. At the end of the year, we'll make an offer on purchase. They can't get any more specific than that, T-Rex Amusements tells us, because they can't get any.
The hardest thing about this whole campaign has been trying to stay calm when my 21-month-old is climbing up my leg, shrieking.
And if this information is, in your view, incomplete or unclear, we stand ready to supplement it and answer any questions you have about that issue.
Now that's a picture.
Robert Lipscomb, smooth operator, smooth operator. He's the one that keeps telling me, don't you worry about it, don't you worry about it, don't worry, we got ideas, don't worry.
We are going to wrap it up, yeah.
But one more thing I'd like to announce, and this is also a recent development, the Tennessee Preservation Trust, a nonprofit group based in Nashville, has a top 10 list of threatened historic structures in Tennessee that need to be saved. And the Pippin and the Carousel made number 2 on that list.
Tonight we have as our featured speaker, Dean Aviati, and the topic is the Fairgrounds redevelopment.
Liberty Land has served its purpose. It was managed by the Mid-South Fair. Not saying anything about the Mid-South Fair, but today to go ahead and compete with other amusement parks, you have to have a company to be the sponsor of it and also the promoter. Possibly if we can get that in line, that we will go ahead and still have some type of amusement park in the future. That would be the scenario 1. But in scenario 3, we still maintain commercial facing on Central with housing on top. And Liberty Land has been gone to sports and recreation areas.
So it is then up to the City Council to make a final decision regarding which scenario, what plan will be approved for the fairgrounds?
The committee will present their findings to the mayor. Then the mayor, through the administration, will make his presentations to the council.
Which will have to approve what the administration proposes. Right. City Council Parks Committee meeting, they voted to have the city attorney request, based on its right under the contract, to demand financial information from Mid-South Fair. The same thing is when I call in a couple of days, I'll also ask about the contact between the city and the private amusement park companies.
I wish that would be done.
Apparently, according to Mr. Aviati outside his car, still they haven't done anything about that. You know, I mean, it's their job to do what the City Council Parks Committee tells them to do. We shouldn't have to nag them to get it done. It's been 2 weeks. We should have this information by now.
Hi!
Hey.
We brought our hero. Hey!
How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Good to finally get.
My name is Robert Barnard. I am Chief Operating Officer of T-Rex Group and Joyland Amusement Park. We go around the country looking at old amusement parks that need help, that have some history, that people have been involved in the community, and try to save them.
We found 2004, you found 2004 financial data, which properly interpreted suggests that maybe the situation financially is not as bleak as has been reported to us.
Hi!
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hello, Robert Barnard.
Kanji Anthony, nice to meet you. There was one more thing that you felt that the numbers were very promising in comparison to
one of your most recent questions.
Put a letter of intent together to the city of Memphis saying that we will take Liberty Land as it stands, including the carousel and the Zip and Pippin, and then bring in other rides, basically put in an additional $5 million into the park over the next 3 years, and continue running the amusement park.
So we go into Mid-South Fair. You know, he makes this offer. They were absolutely not going to entertain any offer to sell the park. They claimed they were under contract with Norton Auctioneers and that there was no way to get out of it. They were committed to selling it off piecemeal on the auction block. And I said, you know, well, we don't think you own it, and if necessary, we'll have to go to court on it. And then they got mad and said I was trying to blackmail them, and, you know. Robert Bernard told me afterwards he thought it was wonderful how much patience I showed, that I was willing to put up with that kind of abuse and make the meeting last for 20 minutes.
Additional $9 million. So.
Yeah.
Let's all have a big round of applause for Audra Brown and Kara Clark. Thanks for coming out to Liberty Fest.
Okay, I'll be right back.
We've got a great band coming up, the Zippin' Pippins. And they are named after the one and only wooden roller coaster, the Zippin' Pippin, which today would have been the 31st year of it being open and people riding the Zippin' Pippin. And we threw this party because we didn't want to just take this lying down. And
I guess I'm kind of pissed at my sister, my twin. My sister Dee went to a great bit of trouble to get this whole Liberty Fest to take place today. And we actually are about to play and look around, and there's no Misty. By the time she got up to the stage and set up her drums while we're all standing there in the hot sun. We get to do 2 songs, and then our bass player, Amy, had to leave because she had a gig. Actually, we sang 1 song because Steve Mulroy did his song that he made up especially for Liberty Fest called Meet Me Down at Liberty Land.
10 days from now, we will know whether I made it in my race to be the Democratic nominee for County Commission, District 5.
All right.
Good. I know you're not, and I really appreciate that. So, as we get closer to the June 21 date, suddenly we hear from City Attorney Sarah Hall that she's giving up on the Zippin' Pippin because they replaced the wood little by little over the many decades, and now all of the wood is new and replaced by Mid-South Fair. That makes Mid-South Fair own it.
Property is deemed by the Park Commission to be worthy of retention. In fact, the pippin and other items are deemed to be a liability. After the auction, the fair will deliver the land free and clear of all items save the carousel.
You know, we're fighting for Liberty Land, and here are these people who are supposed to be the guardians of our liberties because they are elected to public office to uphold the branches of government and the checks and balances and everything you learned in civics class, and it all just fell apart.
It's my daughter, Mr. George.
Oh, I couldn't tell. How you doing?
Not very good.
Why is that?
Because the city is not
it's a
claiming
liability that says that the Pippin is a liability.
You're giving the
It's a
Pippin
tourist
away to be
attraction.
torn down by the fairgrounds.
It's
It
a
can't be
tourist
moved.
attraction.
How can it be
I'm
auctioned?
staying out of it, okay? 'Cause,
That's the problem. Everyone is staying out of it.
So maybe there never was an agreement. Maybe it was always the understanding that the Zippin' Pippin would be sold.
Miss Hall, this is my daughter, Hannah.
Hey, hi Hannah, how are
She's
you?
48 inches tall, just tall enough to ride the roller coaster.
Yeah, hey.
And now she won't get a chance. So I just wanted you to meet her.
Yeah, it's nice to meet her.
Sarah Hall was wearing a really cute suit that day while she was dismembering the checks and balances of Memphis city government. I could never look at her the same way after that.
Let's go. Get in.
Okay, so we've tried to negotiate with Mid-South Fair. They won't. We've tried to get the city interested in asserting its own ownership rights. They won't. We have no choice but to go to court.
What we're filing today in Chancery Court is called a fiat, and it's an order that they are enjoined from having the auction. And but just temporarily until we can have a hearing. At the hearing, we'll determine the ownership of the rides.
Oh.
So
it's buying some time.
Yeah, it's buying some time. The temporary injunction could turn out to be a permanent injunction, but the chancellor rules that way.
You'll notice Liberty is represented by a female goddess. Authority, on the other hand, is the image of a Roman centurion.
All right, so we go into court without the city's help. Opposing counsel won't let me participate because I'm not a member of the Tennessee bar. I'm a member of the Virginia bar only.
How you feel, Hannah?
Tired.
So the two attorneys are the only ones that are allowed to speak. You have Reva Kriegel and Jen Parker filing the motion. Now, our legal theory was spelled out in great detail in our pleadings that we filed the day before. But it soon becomes obvious to me that Judge Alice Andradas has not read them.
We're in a brief recess. I'm hot, like I could faint in 10 minutes.
Mike and his daughter were in the jury stand. They were using it for overflow attendees because the place was packed and there was media everywhere. His daughter got a little upset, and Mike wants to comfort her, but he can't talk too loudly or the judge is going to chew him out because we're all supposed to be quiet in the courtroom. And the Liberty Land cause is going down the tubes, and not because our legal theory is ridiculous, it's because we're not really getting a chance to make our case. It was a very black day. Judge Alice Andradas' demeanor on the bench that day was probably the most unprofessional I have ever seen in all the times I've litigated. The judge made the necessary factual findings that were required to screw us legally, and the auction went forward.
Get all shook up at Liberty Land's tribute to Elvis this Saturday and Sunday. See Elvis stylist Harry Shahoyan in a live performance packed with all your favorite Elvis hits. After the show, take a ride on the Zippin' Pippin', Elvis's favorite Liberty Land ride. You'll have a hunk of burnin' fun at Liberty Land with 25 terrific rides, live entertainment, fantastic food, and great games. It's now or never.
55, $6,000 on the bid of $6, make it $6,000, make it $6,000, you done? 6,000, 6 now, 65,
Big silver Airstream Norton carpet bagging mobile unit number 23. You're right. Coldwater, Michigan. Yeah, they threw some cold water on our effort, didn't they?
There's the little red caboose, Mr. Booth.
The day of the auction was so hot. It was about 106 degrees in the shade that day. And I thought, why not? I'll just go up there and I'll show Casey his first and last look at Liberty Land.
I said, I'm surprised they're not charging for the baby.
Really?
You know? What a scam.
Has there been a bid on the Pippin yet?
No, it's like it's almost last.
The auction people were, a lot of them were pretty seedy looking characters, you know, like the carny types that you think they might live down in that Florida town where Lobster Boy was arrested. When I was walking around, strolling my toddler around and looking at Tom Sawyer Island, he loved it. He loved the caboose. He just loved, he was pointing at everything. And here's my little boy. This is who will never get to come to Liberty Land.
Ready. We're going to sell the Zippin' Pippin' in front of him on. It's at 10,000. How much, gang? How much? Who's at 5? 5, pick it at 5,000. On the bid of 5. Bid of 5,000. Who's at 5? Pick it at 5,000. 5,000, let's go. Bid of 5, bid of 5, pick it at 5. Tell me. What are you? How much? Who's at 2? 2,000. 1,000. I got 1,000. Now 2.
Liberty Land could have been marketed as Elvis's favorite amusement park because that's what it was.
Tell me $2,000 on the hood. 1,000 bid at 2. 1,000 now 2 bid at. You can sell that thing off there for more money than that.
That's right.
Yes, sir. That car right there, Elvis. Yep. That car. Of course, I showed Elvis' hand too, but nobody paid me anything for that. Yep. Yeah. But I washed my hands after that. I got 1,000 now 2. 1,000. Let's go, gang.
Sadly, it was never marketed as Elvis's favorite amusement park until the auction company put that on its website.
Sell the boards off. Sign them, Elvis, and sell them one at a time.
Does that include the car?
Yeah.
Does that include the car?
Includes the car. 2,500. It's a project. Hey, it's a project.
Hey, no balls, huh?
2,500.
It all is based upon the fact of how important this was to the history of Memphis and the mythology of Elvis as a total bridge builder between cultures.
He threw up on it. Yeah, he did.
22.5?
That's one. Every one of them he did. You know he threw up on every one of them. 3.
25, 3,000. It's not 25,000. 2,500. 2,500. 3,000. Anybody else? What do you think?
Honey, we don't own anything forever. It's got to move on down the road. What's next? We're just caretakers, that's all.
You raise your hand.
Let her go, Dave. 3. 27.5.
Today is the day that a piece of Memphis history got sold off. And I'm standing here now at Liberty Land. The Zippin' Pippin was just auctioned off for how much money?
$2,500.
And what's your name?
Stephen Schutz.
Stephen is the proud owner of the Zippin' Pippin roller coaster. $2,500. Now, what are you going to do with the roller coaster?
It's all about preservation, I think, at this point.
So I get a phone call from Mike, and he says, I'm standing next to the man who just bought the Zippin' Pippin.
For Memphis history.
This is Steve Mulroy, our legal counsel for Save Liberty Land, and he'd like to talk to you.
Hey, Steve.
And it turns out this guy, Steve Schutz, is himself a preservationist out of Nashville who recognizes the historic value of the Pippin, and he wants to preserve it.
No idea being in on acquiring it. We really can't.
He made a general offer that he'd sell the coaster back to a willing buyer for $25,000.
$2,500.
He'd give us until the end of November to come up with the money.
Elvis wrote it, and I had no idea. I thought it'd go for $25,000. Our main interest.
If at the end of the day, when the dust settles, we lost Liberty Land, and we lost those rides, but it looks like we're going to be able to save the Pippin, keeping it local. It's not everything that we wanted, but that's not bad.
How's that? Think Steve's gonna win on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. I do. All the FaceTime he got from our campaign. He's got name recognition.
Maybe he'll get you to be the undersecretary or something.
It doesn't work that way with me. I'm the bad luck babe. Everywhere I go, amusement parks close down. It happened in Little Rock, it happened in Memphis.
Hello there, ladies. Thank you very much.
Have you heard anything?
2 precincts in.
My name's Leroy.
Joe Boom Boom Weinberg. How you doing?
We got fire in the pit. When you've got fire, you got to work with fire. This is how we treat it. Here's Ashley. She'll show you how. Just a little bit of water. We don't want to put out all the cold.
Karate, 56. Mulroy, 217. I want to thank some people right now before we find out for sure what's going to happen, okay? Because my thanks is not conditioned on my winning, all right? First person I want to thank is Amy Mulroy and Molly Quick. There's Molly right there. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm sick of seeing spring and summer through the office glass. And I've got an itch to scratch from way back when. I want time off as a grown-up. I want to suck on a pronto pup. Well, Jane, I appreciate that. That's very gracious of you to say, and thank you very much for the call. I just got a phone call from Jane Karate. Conceding the race. In your hands, it's yours to command.
He sang it at the campaign headquarters when he won. And I said, isn't this kind of like flogging a dead horse? I mean, it's over.
So this post-auction period for me has been full retreat mode because the city managed to give away the Pippin, a priceless asset of Memphis's park system.
As my grandmother would say, this has worn me down to a nub. These beautiful pears for Steve Mulroy and his family so that they can have something as sweet as they are.
Meet me down at
Okay, to make up for her.
I feel guilty bag.
Oh, preserves! I know she makes this stuff.
Yes, it's the guilty bag. No, we've known her longer, so we're going to tell
Yeah, she picked her.
she feels guilty and has to alleviate it. Somehow.
I see. Oh, that's lovely.
He was
So now is this
a
apologies for not showing up gift? Okay. All right.
Yes.
She, you know what?
I had to
D.
say
Parkinson,
self-motivation.
te absolvo. Te absolvo. You are forgiven. Domini, Patrick, Domini, Tempest Fusion.
Make me a night. Make me a night.
All right, you are Tuesday night.
Hi.
There we go.
I love Tuesday. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole new scenario, which is sort of a combination of different other scenarios, and now has the amusement park back. There was a great article in the Commercial Appeal just recently with artist renderings of the whole thing, the new scenario, with a little arrow saying amusement park goes here. And how we moved from the last Looney Rick's Kiss scenario to this one, I don't know. It's a black box, but I don't want to question it. I want to believe. I just want to believe. Because in the summer, they seem to have absolutely no interest in preserving Liberty Land as it was. Now, with Liberty Land largely vacant, suddenly they're excited about the idea of bringing in a new amusement park. Well, the process was this. I got elected to the county commission and was grousing about the Liberty Land issue to some fellow commissioners, and one of them is very close to Mayor Harrington. And he said, why don't I set up a meeting between you and Harrington? Like, just like that. We had been trying for months to have a meeting with Mayor Harrington, but to no avail. But he set it up, and so I got a chance to pitch it to Harrington, and he said, well, let me meet this guy Bernard and find out exactly what the details are, and we'll see. And we came in there. Robert Lipscomb, the mayor's assistant, and the mayor were very, very excited. They were ready to go behind us 100%. He did know that Save Liberty Land existed because he told a story about a conversation on the telephone that he had with Denise Parkinson, which didn't end well.
Mayor Harrington, your mama needs a shower.
And he was very curious about why I cared so much. The mayor said that he had ridden the Zippin' Pippin once, and it was a horrible experience, and he was never going to repeat it again. And it was clear that he didn't have a lot of interest in or affection for Liberty Land per se, personally. But to his credit, as mayor, he thought it might be good for the city to bring back the amusement park.
I thought this whole issue was dead in the water after the auction, and really, I've been in the depths of despair. When I got the phone call from Steve Mulroy that said that we could possibly get this back to a vote, I just thought, oh my God, miracles can happen.
We're meeting in Young Avenue Deli to get ready for our 5 o'clock meeting with the Cooper Young Community Association because they've got concerns about the Liberty Land deal. They want to delay tomorrow's city council vote.
And yet, we were blindsided by the Cooper Young Community Association's PR campaign that said that they had not been informed enough when we've gotten every single business owner to sign on and support this project.
Well, at this point, the majority of the information that we're getting, unfortunately, is from the newspapers. So can you address the articles that we read both in our paper and the Wichita Business Journal that you all are behind in your payments to your creditors and that you've had financial problems since you've been running the park in Wichita?
Wichita is a little bit different in that we didn't bring in additional capital. We went in.
And all we need is to get 7 votes in the city council to allow the city to go forward with it. A couple of days ago, I would have told you we had 7 votes easy, but Cooper Young is making trouble for us.
I mean, that's hugely desirable property, and yet it's hugely valuable to the citizens. And you know, we're all have lived and worked here for any number of years. It'd be foolish for us to just kind of go, yeah, I'm kind of wowed by $5 million. $5 million is, you know, it's nothing.
First of all, you say it could be condos, Starbucks. Is that what we want? I think part of our big issue, you didn't ask. Secondly, no. You have been working with this group to bring them in publicly, and you've publicly talked to the community. You can see our office from the fairgrounds, and no one has come and asked us about this.
Denise
Secondly, no, Denise Parkinson came in afterwards and asked us if we would help fight for the Pippin and the carousel, which was not our fight to fight.
The mayor has more influence with the city council clearly than the Cooper Young Community Association. So the fact that a group of people in Cooper Young may have a problem with something is not going to show up on his radar screen as it might Councilman Bridnam, who is the councilman for that area.
I mean, I write these things all day long. That's what I do. I'm a commercial broker as well as being a developer. So your letter of intent is just that. It's to see if we could even get to an agreement.
But I think also they just don't have the same value in the amusement park that we do and a lot of other people in Memphis do.
This is in a neighborhood. This is an urban setting, and I'm just, wondering what your plan is to buffer. I mean, if this gets done, buffer us and protect the neighborhood from, that kind of activity.
And they're not convinced that an amusement park would be the best thing for that property. Tomorrow morning we have the city council vote, and either the whole thing goes down in flames, or we move forward, or maybe a middle ground approach. Maybe we get city council approval of the letter of intent and then have to come back in 2 weeks for approval of the final lease.
Join us at the end of the table. They call that the hot seat. I know from numerous phone calls I've had.
The lesson I learned from the first Liberty Land Savior experience was that you can get the city council on your side, but nothing is really going to happen unless the mayor wants it to happen.
So in 2 weeks, then you're going to bring back a finalized letter of intent. Then what happens? That's only
sometimes you need both. If I had to pick one or the other, I think I'd still rather have the mayor's support because the mayor is very powerful. And so that's why I gave it a shot. It was like one last attempt to try to bring Liberty Land back from the ashes. And it bore a lot of fruit.
What's your thoughts on this today?
I'm delighted.
You're delighted.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a win-win-win situation for everyone in Memphis, and it'll boost our tourism because Liberty Land was never even marketed as Elvis's favorite amusement park. We could have a whole rebirth.
Time melted away.
Now, a few weeks later, I speak to Robert Lipscomb, and he says, nope, we're not doing it anymore. Doesn't fit in with their overall plan for the fairgrounds. And I've heard from the mayor personally since then, they've got this plan for a new football stadium. And he's telling it to me as though he hadn't just said the opposite thing, as though we'd never had the previous conversations. We can't save the park, but I still have hope that we can save the Pippin.
Mayor Harrington was disinterested in the children's amusement park, and he cared little about the history or market value of the Mid-South Fair. Mayor Harrington did not fight for our sense of place, nor show concern for it disappearing, because the people involved saw the fairgrounds as an opportunity in real estate.
It's a magical moment. It won't come again. There was a mistake, and I was not involved in it.
At the end of the verse, that's where we're supposed to do it.
We're going to record the song that I wrote, Meet Me Down at Liberty Land, the rock anthem in celebration of our cause, which we sang at various rallies. This is so cool. This is so freaking cool. Thank you.
Well, who the fuck's gonna play drums on Christy's song if we end up not being done by 90 minutes? Where do you gotta be at 10? 10 o'clock at Murphy's? Come on.
I know, but it would take 5 minutes to cut Christy's
The more
song.
we talk about this, more.
I know, I agree
You
with
don't want to do
you.
your song?
I agree with you. No,
We're not going to do your song then?
Christy, this will take, the song is 3 minutes long. We're gonna get it on the first try. All we're doing is singing.
I'm trying. She says we're doing overdubs.
We're doing Liberty Land.
stuff about the end of the band. Is this the end of the band?
Well, we got in a big fight. We didn't get in a big fight, but Missy hired Jeff, and Christy got her feelings hurt, but he was really to replace me because I'm the one that sucks on the guitar. So, not to replace me, but to play, lead. And so that's why Bruce was here, because Christy called Bruce to play drums to piss Misty off.
Meet me down at Liberty Land. Meet me down at Liberty Land.
Okay, no offense, but I could give a shit about Liberty Land, whether you save it or not. I mean, I have things that I feel strongly about, but that's not it. I think they should save the Zip and Pippin out of it.
Got
I'm
wood?
sorry.
Now you don't care if you got wood.
I care about the Zip and Pippin.
Okay.
If we wake up a year from now and there's no new stadium, there's no amusement park, but there is a super Walmart on the fairgrounds, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a pen and jam it in my eye.
All right. Precious elixir.
I want time off as a grown-up. I want to suck on a pronto pup. Let's get on this thing and see how fast.
Yeah, Stephen Schutz is on the phone. Carolina Crossroads has told us they're... And then I get a phone call out of the blue from Steve Schutz saying, well, it's too late. I sold the Zip and Pippin. And after I did a little spit take, I said, what do you mean you sold the Pippin? And he said, well, they showed up with the money. And it was bought from Schutz by this company called North Carolina Crossroads, and they want to dismantle it, move to North Carolina, and reassemble it and advertise to the world that they, not Memphis, have Elvis's favorite roller coaster.
Well, when will Denise be home?
I'm not sure, man.
She's stay-at-home Denise Parkinson. I thought she was at home.
She's not home very often these days.
Okay. All right. Well. All right.
This
Well,
is not a good time, man.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. We'll be back later and talk to you. Thank you.
I am the cheap candidate that doesn't want to be beholden to the big money special interests, and I'm going to run on that. My campaign is about coming back to the parks with our children and our families, and bringing the people that are getting the short end of the stick back into the beautiful spaces that we share in common. And the city wants to liquidate them all.
And unfortunately, our own lawyer, Mr. Mulroy, is now part of the problem because he is a politician. And just by nature of being a politician, he has to answer to a lot of people.
One of my opponents has sent someone over to my house to try to talk me into dropping out of the race. But Jim Strickland sent someone to my house.
Sent who?
Well, that's our secret.
Why does Steve feel it's necessary to talk Denise out of the race?
Because he's listening to some advice that's probably not very good.
Why would he do that?
Because as someone in a powerful position, you know you've got to listen to what other people say or else you'll be in a vacuum.
Did you have an argument yesterday?
With the person? We ended up giving each other a goodbye hug, so.
When's the last time you talked to Steve?
Probably about 6 months ago.
6 months ago?
I don't really talk to Steve very much.
Why not?
Because he doesn't have anything to say to me.
I'm Steve Mulroy with Save Liberty Land. I've had Denise Parkinson, the founder of Save Liberty Land, with me. I wanted to let you all know that the Zip and Pippin now has a new owner, and that owner is the Save Liberty Land organization. Yay! Carolina Crossroads decided that they weren't going to build a new amusement park after all. And so they offered to sell the Pippin to us for $1. And they chose Save Liberty Land rather than the city because they decided they wanted it preserved too, and they trusted Save Liberty Land to do it. The second part of the announcement is, as owners of the Zip and Pippin, we are announcing that we are willing to donate it free of charge to the city of Memphis as long as the city of Memphis preserves it and does not demolish it.
So the Carolina Crossroads people care about the history and the significance of the Zip and Pippin more than our very own city administration does. The people who have the authority in Memphis don't care. If they did care about Memphis and they communicated that to the world, then Memphis would prosper. And I'm running for city council, but I swear to God, if they will just give us our park back,
there'd be no reason for me to even run.
So is the goal to open the park running, open the park as a memorial, simply not get it bulldozed? Which one of these is the focus here?
We do not want the bulldozers to come in, which is what we have been given information all along from sources within the security company.
Although I should point out, I'm sorry to interrupt, a city administration official told me today that there were no current plans to bulldoze it. And at the time, we were staring down the barrel of a 30-day deadline. Mid-South Fair was going to kick the Pippin off the property. They eventually relented on that and gave an extension. But we're trying to figure out where can we put it and where can we raise the money that it would take to dismantle it, move it, and reassemble it. And I was working on trying to get private donors to pay for it. We were trying to find landowners that would be a haven for it. So let's just take our time and be deliberate and
get a new administration in.
Oh, don't be petty.
Somebody that cares.
D cares. Vote Denise for governor.
Governor, that's right, president.
Holding steady at 6%.
Are you really?
666. Hey. Everything is horrible. Harrington, we're gonna all be living in a commune in the Ozarks. I'm coming in third.
Denise is coming in third. That's awesome.
And I spent $500 to get 1,200 votes. There's a ratio and an algebraic proportion that we're working out.
Who's winning for you in your category?
Jim Strickland.
Really? Mayor Harrington, my name's Mike. I want to thank you for giving me a job a couple years ago at City Hall. Saved my family, my house. I was renting my house to hippies at the time, but I got it back. I rode the elevator with you once. I'm sure you don't remember. I've never ridden an elevator with a man who's got a statue. It's impressive. But anyway, if you could just think about saving the roller coaster, it'd be incredible. It'd be great. Now, I know you're busy. I gotta go.
It just seems to me that if you have an amusement park that's been in the center of a city for 100 years, first it was Joy Plaza, then it was Fairgrounds Amusement Park, then it was Liberty Land.
So
what was that?
Yeah, we've still got the water slide and the log ride because they couldn't figure out how to move it.
And you know, the Tunnel of Love and the Old Mill are no more, but we still have, you know, what I like to call Beauty and the Beast. We still have the carousel and the Zip and Pippin.
Getting the coaster up and running where it is would be around $65,000. Moving it, of course, is a lot more expensive.
But in security, it costs what to watch it?
To watch it fall apart slowly, $219,000 a year, right? Hey guys, this is going to be great.
Oh, check this out.
This is in 2 years.
Without John Delaney's research, I'm convinced the city would have let the Mid-South Fair auction off the carousel in pieces. Save Liberty Land convinced the city to keep the carousel in storage until the money could be found to restore it.
The city turned over to the fair a bill of sale. How does this work?
I think I've heard that there was a sort of a private understanding that, you know, we'll let you take the Pippin and we have to keep the carousel. Anyway, the dust is settled. The city still owns the carousel and we own the Pippin. So.
Is it fraud to sell something that you know isn't your own?
There he is.
Where?
In front of this one.
What are we looking at?
Dionysus.
And what is it?
It's the only carved Pegasus horse on a carousel left from this era.
in the world. It was last year they sent in the mail a painting of this horse to just congratulate us for saving it. Grace got to ride it, and that was when she said she wanted to spend all her birthdays.
I remember you saying that.
Yes, it's burned into my consciousness.
Well, we went 4 times that last season because we had a sick feeling in our stomach that, you know, there might not be many more of them.
So Denise, when are you leaving town?
Next week.
Are you really? You have a set date and everything? Really?
Well, we don't have a place to live yet, but we're leaving next week.
Do you have it, you know, which day? Or?
No.
Did you find a place?
No.
So, you're serious about this? This is a definite deal? You're leaving next week? Really?
Well, we don't have to leave next week. That's the plan.
These people wanted something that could be confined to a very clear black and white PowerPoint presentation. They don't want Memphis. They don't want authenticity. They don't want Elvis's favorite amusement park. They want something that is so generic that you can't even tell what city it's in. I think it's because they want something that is white and tight and has nothing to do with local color, authenticity, flavor, heritage, culture.
I sat out on foot to get me there. Now it's late. I'm nowhere. I need a ride. I need a ride.
And so as the Zip and Pip and ride became futile to save it, the band just broke down too. And to preserve our friendships, we had to break up.
Ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So yeah, the breakup of the Pippin was just the breakup of the personalities that were involved. And then everybody basically had other directions to go in. Christy moved to San Francisco. Susie wanted to work harder on her stained glass. And Amy's the star now, so, you know. It was hard to try to save the Zip and Pippin. To me, the breakup of the band was because I broke up, because I couldn't save it.
It could be argued that the Memphis I wanted to save never existed, but I came to know the history very well, and I had used the city's facade in my films for decades. The greatest success story told within the scope of the American century is the rise and fall of Elvis Presley, and the setting for that story is Memphis, Tennessee.
Elvis's death this afternoon was swift and unexpected, as Mason Granger reports.
Elvis Presley died here about 3:30 this afternoon. He had been found in his bathroom, unconscious, not breathing, was brought to the hospital by ambulance. Efforts to revive him here at the hospital were unsuccessful, and Elvis was declared dead at 3:30. He had probably
So is it not our duty as Memphians to cherish and preserve for future generations the greatest singer of all time and his experience of living in Memphis in the American century? That's the city I want to save. That's the city I want my children to grow up in.
Sometime between 9 and 2:30, doctors say.
Mayor Harrington resigned his 5th term in July 2008 after 9 months in office. With much controversy, Harrington chose to run again for mayor only 2 weeks later. A.C. Wharton was elected city mayor in October 2009.
Okay, so then out of the blue, I'm dealing with Mayor Wharton and his assistant Carrie Hayes, and I'm urging them not to destroy the Pippin until I can sell it. They tell me, don't worry, I'm gonna have some time. And then a few weeks later, out of nowhere, I get a letter from the city saying, you have 30 days to get the Zip and Pippin off our property, otherwise we're gonna bulldoze it. And the date of the bulldozing is literally Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas, save Liberty Land. So now I'm really panicked because I have nowhere to put the Pippin. And weeks go by and I am trying to follow every lead I can, but I can't find any home for it. And I'm finally convinced this is the final blow. This is all going to come to nothing. It's just going to be a pile of rubble. There's not going to be a home for the Pippin. And I'm already mentally composing in my mind what I'm going to say to my kids, to Save Liberty Land, to the public, how I'm going to, say, well, we gave it our best shot and we still have our memories and blah, blah, blah. And then out of the blue, with just a few weeks left to go before the drop-dead bulldoze deadline, I get a call from this guy. He says, I'm the mayor of Green Bay, Wisconsin. I have no idea why the mayor of Green Bay, Wisconsin would be calling me.
Okay.
He wants a historic roller coaster with some character for his amusement park, and he wanted to know would I consider selling him the Pippin. And of course I'm going to consider selling him the Pippin. And before you know it, it's a serious thing. And with a serious buyer, I'm finally able to persuade the city to postpone the demolition, and one thing leads to another, and suddenly I've sold myself a roller coaster.
This is going to work. It's worked down in Memphis for 75 years. They had the Zippin Pippin. It's 100% new construction up here. It's a treasure. We're expanding this. It's going to make for healthy families. And at the end of the day, it's an economic development tool.
The mayor of Green Bay could not be more gracious and more appreciative of both the history that the Pippin has, its historic value, and also the emotional attachment that a lot of Memphians have to the Pippin. They looked at the Pippin and they liked what they saw. They're on a tight time frame. They want to get this sale wrapped up in 60 days.
What do you think? You see any justification in that?
How much justification is there in many commercial enterprises?
What? Are you crying or you got allergies?
Allergies.
So you're not crying over the coaster?
No, sir.
You're sure?
Yes, sir.
Because you've been crying since, you've been tearing up since I saw you this morning.
Yes, sir. Well, I just hate to see her go.
Are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine.
Talking to Mayor Wharton, up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And he wants to come down and see it as soon as possible. And he understands from conversation with you and me that dismantling is underway. Well, it's really just Denise and I guess Misty, although I haven't heard from Misty. Their concern is that the Pippin shouldn't be sold. This is all a sellout, a cop-out, a betrayal of the cause. I don't know what else she says, but I will note this, that she is the only one saying this. Every other member of the Save Liberty Land group I have spoken to a person, has the same attitude as me, which is that it'd be great to have it in Memphis. This is the next best thing. Let's go for it. I took the liberty of showing paragraph 3 to Mr. Wagner to have him look it over.
Where is he?
He's around here somewhere. He was just looking.
I'm getting him right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. And he's okay with everything in this thing. The only thing he raised a question about was this phrase, using cables or equipment to lower them in a controlled manner. What happened was all in one transaction, Save Liberty Land Corporation acquired the cars and the signage and all rights from Carolina Crossroads
and then sold that along with everything it already had, its rights to the coaster itself, all to Green Bay. So by the end of this three-way transaction, Green Bay owns everything. They have until the 1st of November to come down here and claim all their stuff. Here's the contract for sale, and then I just signed it on behalf of Save Liberty Land Corporation right there. March 18th, 2010.
Welcome to East Parkway. Welcome to our dedication ceremony today with the Zippin' Pippin and with Liberty Land. Green Bay is going to be opening up the Zippin' Pippin on May 7th, 2011. And I want to turn the microphone over to Mayor A.C. Wharton. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody who made themselves a repository of the fond memories of Liberty Land. That's how great cities are made. It's so fitting that we're doing this in the fall of the year. Leaves fall, little buds, little trees, and other things. And that's what great cities, they don't destroy, they don't just discard their past. So this is not merely the sticking of a sign in the ground somewhere. It is simply saying that we're truly a great city. We respect our past. We value the fond memories because they are part of our future. So I won't say that you lost or you did not save Liberty Land. You made an exchange for something that all of us can carry with us. You see, we individually cannot walk around with a piece of the Zippin' Pippin in our pocket, but we can all walk around with its memories in our heart. Thank you so much. Great.
Now I've got my calendar circled for May 7th, 2011, and I don't know about you, Mayor Wharton, I don't know about you, the rest of you. I am going to be there on the first ride of the revitalized Zippin' Pippin roller coaster.
The wooden roller coaster, erected on the fairgrounds in 1923, was the Mid-South's premier outdoor amusement park ride.
If we could, maybe it'd be nice to have a group trip up to Green Bay.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm going to be there. Anyone wants to come with me?
May 7th.
Road trip. May 7th.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
But is Denise coming?
If she wants to, she can come.
Anybody can come if they want to.
Yeah, it's an open bus.
Yes. Road trip, road trip, road trip, road trip, road trip, road trip. The Pippin lives again. Phoenix-like, you know, from the ashes.
This is something I've been waiting for about 20 years here. I said, they got to have a roller coaster here, you know. And when he said that they were getting a coaster here, and especially out of Memphis, Tennessee, the one that Ellis rode, you know, I just, wow, this is fantastic.
Hey, come on, you guys. How are you? Good.
And even the foresight of each of the mayors, I think, and to know that the city is continually investing in something that is safe. And I'm a teacher in the Green Bay schools, and 60% of our kids live in poverty. The kids were so excited. It was like new roller coasters. I mean, they were just excited.
You were talking about Mayor Schmidt's predecessor.
Yes.
Not any of the mayors of Memphis. Well, I assure you that the mayors of Memphis and Shelby County had absolutely nothing to do with this.
With the foresight of this.
They deserve no credit whatsoever. Let's be clear about that.
Bright light city, gonna set my soul on fire. Got a whole lot of money that's ready to burn, so get those stakes up higher. Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas!
These are all our first riders. All right, I think. Wait a minute, where's the guy from Memphis?
Right here.
Oh, you're in there. Okay, all right. Count of 3, Zippin' Pippin, all right? 1, 2, 3, Zippin' Pippin! This is a project that we worked very hard on. We got private donations of a little over $750,000. This roller coaster will outlast all of us. And here we go. On the count of 3, we're gonna say Zippin' Pippin, and it'll be officially open. 1, 2, 3. Zippin' Pippin!
All I can say is we tried and we tried and we tried again, and they did not want anything to do with us. It only amounts to the fact that they never wanted an amusement park there at all. So it really breaks down to people who are pro-fun and people who are anti-fun.
more than anything else I've worked on, they still come up to me and they thank me for trying to save Liberty Land. And everyone's got a story about, you know, where it was their first job, or their kid's first job, or they met their wife at Liberty Land. And the Pippin was a big part of that.
Zippin' Pippin' on a field trip in 5th grade. We've had our ups and downs since then, Lord knows. I want time off as a grown-up. I want to suck on a pronto pup. Let's get on this thing, see how fast it goes. Come on and meet me down at Liberty Land. Meet me down at Liberty Land. The magic's in your hands, it's yours to command. Meet me down at Liberty Land. Say there's no room for this scene in Memphis anymore, but they don't know about magic and what it can do. Have faith it'll be enough. Them condo kings, they ain't so tough. Someday our kids will meet their love there too, and they'll say, meet me down